Coming up on Up at Noon, we get our first good look at Venom, and he has a potty mouth. X-Men action figures are the best they've been in 25 years, and they keep rebooting sequels, and we're fine with that. All that and more right now on Up at Noon Live.
Hello and welcome to Up at Noon Live. I'm Brian Altano. This is Max Scoville. Up at Noon is our weekly comedy variety show here at IGN. We've done one episode in the last 6 years.
You had a baby. I got married. Look at that.
Are we done with the life stuff?
I think we can go back to doing our normal adult.
Can we talk about the Predator?
We want to talk about the Predator. The GD Predator, we want to talk about him, and also the Terminator. And Wolverine, we want to talk about all these things.
We're back.
And real life has been getting in the way of our important thoughts about these fake men.
You can watch Up at Noon every single week on IGN.com, Twitch, Roku, Apple TV, Xbox One, PS4, and Facebook. A great website. I guess so.
We normally have a chat window open, but I don't know where that is. We haven't done this in 6 weeks, so who knows?
Switch.
Yeah, you can't watch us on Switch yet. Oh yeah, the fine folks at Ubisoft sent me flowers in honor of my wedding, becoming wed. Anyway, who cares? Let's talk about the real stuff that matters. The Terminator.
That's right.
Yeah, we got a bunch of news first. We got a bunch of fun things we're going to talk about. But first things first, we got our first look at the upcoming Terminator movie that doesn't actually have a name yet. It's just, they're probably going to just call it like Terminator or something.
Is that Terminator?
I don't know. It's technically Terminator 6.
Okay.
And we got our first look at it, and it's Linda Hamilton, the original Sarah Connor, and she looks badass. Mm-hmm. But then there's also these other people who she's with.
That's weird.
I don't know how. That looks like, you see this? I'm like, holy crap, it's Sarah Connor, and she's back. And then it's like, and she's in her own CW show with her friend who has a rebar.
Why does that lady in the middle have Lloyd Christmas hair?
I don't like it at all.
That's very odd.
And the woman on the left looks like she just got off work at like Best Buy or something. She's like, oh, the Geek Squad is here.
The Geek Squad.
They're gonna hack into
Linda Hamilton looks like she's using a Snapchat filter for aviators.
They don't look like real sunglasses.
But anyway.
But yeah, so in theory, we're very excited about this. We want to talk about this a little bit later. This is not a full reboot, and this is not a straight sequel. This is effectively ignoring the last 3 Terminator movies. So this is a sequel to the good Terminator movies.
Wait, so this is the new Terminator 3.
This is effectively a remake of Terminator 3 that does everything differently. So in theory, we think.
This is a brand new...
We don't know what it's called.
This is the newest sequel to Terminator 2.
Yes, this is the first Terminator since Terminator 2 that James Cameron's actually involved in. It's being directed by Tim Miller, who did
Does it count the TV
Deadpool. Show? I don't think so.
What about the ride?
I don't think... Maybe? I think James Cameron was involved with the ride. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We'll talk about this more later, but like, we want to be excited about this, but again, Linda Hamilton looks good. The other two, I'm still sort of like, what's that?
It's also, we've been here before, Mr. Terminator. We know this feeling of excitement, and then we know the feeling of hurt that follows. I saw that last Terminator movie, Genesis or whatever it was called.
I saw the first 10 minutes and I got so angry I had to stop watching.
Yeah, that's a bad film.
Not a good time.
It's a bad movie.
And I'm a Terminator Salvation apologist. I think that has some redeeming factors in it, like the part where John Connor plays Guns N' Roses to make the robot cars chase him.
He loves Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses is awesome.
It's his favorite band.
Anyway, on the subject of technology from the 90s, this was a fun thing that apparently a lot of people are angry about. The NES Classic was the best-selling console of June 2018.
Yeah. So NPD, which is the official tracking group of all things video game sales, tracks all video game hardware, of which this is one. The NES Classic outsold the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Switch. PC is a nebulous, weird entity that no one understands.
Well, it's definitely not a console.
So it doesn't count.
If you can do your homework on it, it's not a console.
Yeah. So I tweeted this out. I said it's a best-selling console of June 2018. It can't play Fortnite, GTA, or God of War. It has no online multiplayer or Netflix, and still it outsold everything. Interesting thing about this is that the NPD software group and tracking software group started tracking sales of video game hardware the month that the NES was discontinued in 1995. So this is the first time in the history of Nintendo or video games period where the NES has topped the sales of all consoles. I tweeted this out, felt pretty innocuous about it, walked away. Hundreds of people are very upset that we're considering this a console. So I ask you this, is the NES Classic a console? To me, it is. It's a video game system. You can't add new games to it, but I feel like that's a sort of arbitrary.
If you hack it, you can probably.
Oh yeah.
I would
yeah.
say, based on the fact that it's a little thing that you plug into your TV that has a controller coming out of it that you push buttons on to make a little character jump.
Yep.
I think that's a video game console.
That's a video game.
That's,
yeah.
Does it play Mario? Yeah, it plays Mario. It's a Nintendo.
Is a console a system? Same thing, right?
Who cares?
Okay. Well,
I don't know.
a lot of people apparently, but I can tell this is a video game system because if you take the word NES and you get to the S part, that stands for system. Always has. So I think that this is a video game system. I think it's a video game console. People say it doesn't count because it's cheap. There's a lot of goalposts moving. I think this is a video game console. I think it's stupid to not consider it one. The NPD considers it one. Nintendo considers it one. Microsoft considers their own systems consoles, and so does PlayStation. So this is all consoles. This is all part of the console wars, and a system from 30 years ago won this last month.
It's a Nintendo.
It's a Nintendo.
Which is what your mom thinks all video game consoles are. So I think that it's a video game console.
Yeah.
In that it's a Nintendo.
Does it count?
Hell yeah.
It counts.
Who cares?
Congrats.
Just play, make the man jump. Just push the buttons, have a good time. That's all that matters.
Let me ask you another one to piss people off. Are video game consoles toys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're games?
They are.
They're toy games? I don't know.
It's fine. It's
All
okay.
right.
They are.
Brian, I ask you this.
Yes.
It's a long day. You've been
Yep.
trudging around the shopping mall. You've been having a grand old time. You've been walking all over, and boy, your dogs are barking. Where are you gonna go to get a foot rub from a machine?
Brookstone.
Yeah. Up until now, I got some bad news. Brookstone is going out of business, and they're
What?
closing all 101 of their mall stores. So where are we gonna get our feet rubbed at the mall?
I have no idea. There's a dude that will do that, maybe.
There's gonna be a huge gap in the market for foot rubs at the mall, assuming the mall is still even there. But yeah, Brookstone.
Wait, can you pull that image back
Wow,
up?
that flew out of there.
What was that? Pull that image back up.
Show us the Brookstone.
If you want to know why Brookstone is out of business, there's a large sign in the store that just says, what? It just says what?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not great news for Brookstone. That said, I don't know anyone who's ever bought anything from one of these stores ever. You go in there for free massages.
Yeah,
and
you go in there to use their chairs,
Yep.
to sit down, get your barking dogs a good foot rub.
Yep.
And then to look at things.
Well, this is indicative, obviously, of the sort of retail apocalypse we're seeing in general. Malls as a whole are sort of like a Guppies and Whales situation. The whales being your Sears and your Macy's and stuff like that. Once those start to diminish and go away, the smaller stores and the high-end technological massage parlors like Brookstone, and then the what is it? Who makes the sausages?
What?
It's like every Hickory Farms.
Hickory
Yeah,
Farms.
that and there's like what's the CD store? I haven't been to a mall in a long time.
They don't. Malls are sort of not.
Sam
not much of a
Goody?
thing.
Yeah.
What I always Brookstone was always sort of just the dead sharper image to me. It
Yeah.
was like a non-threatening. Like you think Brookstone, you're like, yes, this natural babbling brook with rocks in it. And the sharper image was like this kind of laser-focused like 80s nonsense store. But Brookstone was like, our stuff is still completely ludicrous, but we're trying to have like a non-threatening, more like mom-friendly approach to it. I don't know.
They were like an intellectual notch above like infomercial crap.
Yes.
Like they'd be like, hey, here's a speaker that you can drown.
Hey, now here's the next question: is the as seen on TV store?
Mm-hmm.
How's that going to do now that malls are drying up and also people are cord cutting? Are they going to
that's
have to
weird.
switch to like as seen on YouTube store or something? Like I don't
Yeah.
know what that looks like.
I like that a lot.
Anyway, we're all very sad for Brookstone.
Yeah.
A horrible loss for people whose feet hurt at the mall.
Keep in mind, there's a silver lining there. You can still shop at the ones at airports in case you want to buy a massage chair and bring it on the plane. That's
Sure.
an option you have.
All right, so the big, huge news of the week, I guess, I don't know, I got married this week. That's the big news for me. But for people who didn't get married this week, what? You say? Great job. Thanks.
Thanks.
Great, that's Alexio. He said great job. Venom got a new trailer just in time for a week after Comic-Con. This brand new trailer, we should watch some of it, I guess. We actually get to look at Venom. He's in it. He looks really cool.
Yeah.
But there's a weird part where he says turd. Like
He does say turd.
he says, yeah, I feel like they are trying to oversell. I feel like they're trying to oversell Venom. Like I feel like this is a movie about Venom. Everyone knows Venom kicks ass. Venom is great. He's a big gooey man who's like a scary Spider-Man. He's very exciting as a character, but they're really just trying to show us all of the other stuff that's happening around him. When honestly, you know, like this is the selling point here is Venom. And I don't know, they're like, you got Riz Ahmed, and he's talking about the future of symbiotes, and there's car chases and stuff. I don't know, Venom looks cool though. It's Venom. He's great, but he says turd.
He says turd. He picks up a guy at a convenience store and he goes, I'm gonna bite off your arms, and then your legs, and then your head, and then your liver, and your lungs, and you're just gonna be like a turd.
A turd in the wind.
In the wind.
A turd in the wind.
Never heard that saying before.
Like, you ever get so angry that you try to insult somebody and something comes out and you're like, where did that come from?
Right.
Like, what is?
Now,
you just say something dumb.
Imagine if you said that dumb thing, and then you handed it to like a group of like 70 animators who had to animate that dumb thing for a year. That's where we are with this movie. I think this movie will be fine. Like it'll be okay. It'll be like
cool.
Suicide Squad, where you're just kind of like, well, all right, I think I saw that.
I'm gonna see this movie because I want to watch Venom fight some stuff, and I want to hear what other potty language he has to say to criminals.
I'm gonna see this movie because I need another excuse for the good old-fashioned hobby pastime that is Saturday morning day drink.
That is how we see these films.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in lieu of having Spider-Man in this movie, he fights Riot, which is a ridiculous character. It's part of the 5 Venoms, basically.
Yeah.
That just like Eddie Brock spun off into in the 90s. There's that like comic image. IGN put up an article about Riot because we have to explain this to people. That's not Carnage, it's Riot.
Carnage. Carnage is red.
And they showed a comic book panel of Spider-Man being like, oh no! And 5 like wacky clown-faced symbiotes coming in the door, and they're all just like, ah!
No, I was talking
and he's
about
got to fight them all.
That was a big thing in the 90s, was like taking the thing and then breaking it off into like different flavors or different variations, because it's like you gotta catch them all, gotta collect them all, whatever.
Blue raspberry, electric yellow.
Yeah,
or whatever.
no. Like when I was in 3rd grade, around the time Venom was at his absolute peak in terms of 3rd graders being excited about Venom, namely me. My school cafeteria introduced this thing called Smilk, which was different flavors of milk. And they were like, why would you just have chocolate milk and regular milk when you could have grape milk, lemon milk, strawberry milk? And everyone's like, yeah, I kind of like the first 2 the best. And I feel like, I don't know, you got Venom, you got Carnage, otherwise known as Venom and Raspberry Venom. And then they were like, here's all the other flavors. Here's the Skittles of Venoms. Here's the other symbiotes. So I guess maybe we'll get Venom 2 with Carnage. But yeah, Venom. He says turd and he fights Riot. Venom, coming soon to theaters.
I had to look up Smilk because I'm stupid. And the top result is some dude's SoundCloud.
Cool. So now Smilk is not only in cafeterias, it's also in your ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can look up Smilk. It's not great.
The logo for Smilk looks like it's dying.
They can't see Smilk. That's not the same Smilk I had in 1995.
Is this the one?
Yes.
School milk?
Put that away. Okay, it's school milk. So anyway, on the subject of Venom, I want to talk about something really quick. Tom Hardy always has crap on his face, and I don't get it. Like, it's a thing. So in Venom, he's got a lot of crap on his face. It's the symbiote. He's got the thing covering his face, and it periodically will remove part of it from his face so you can see his actual face and you can see him talking.
You know, like a good superhero, constantly revealing himself.
Yeah, let's reveal yourself to the crooks and establish that it's a parasite, I guess. Anyway, that's one of his many roles with the crap on his face. But let's take a little walk down memory lane. Most recently, the crap he had on his face was actually very historically accurate crap put there by Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk. He played the pilot that flew around in the plane. And he had the thing all over his face, and periodically he'd take it off so he could, I don't know, you could see his mouth. Somebody actually asked Christopher Nolan about this and was like, oh, you see, the reason I'm always putting crap on Tom Hardy's face is that he's very good at acting with his eyes and his eyebrows, which is true. He's a great actor. It's just still kind of weird that Christopher Nolan's always like, this was a great scene of yours. Let's put some things on your face. And that also continued. Previously, this is less crap on his face, but still substantially there's some stuff on his face.
That's some crap. That's a beard full of snow.
In The Revenant, he had a scruffy, woodsman beard that had ice in it.
What's your favorite quote of his from that movie?
The Revenant?
Yeah. I like when he goes.
Yeah, you
I
got.
actually didn't know until like 3 hours into that movie that was Tom Hardy.
No, because he had crap on his face. You couldn't even tell. And then, of course, iconically in Mad Max Fury Road, he spends like half the movie with crap on his face that he has to try to get. Like, his motivation for the first part of that movie is to get the crap off his face.
That's true.
He doesn't even talk once he gets it off. He's still kind of just sort of like, and he's acting with his eyes and his eyebrows. And then, of course, famously, the most iconic crap was the Bane crap. The thing, it sounds like, Sean Connery, Darth Vader, and a porch swing combined. Like, and
Yep.
I thought that was good. That was where Christopher Nolan first got the idea that he's an eye actor. But even before that, he was in Warrior, where he had to put like the mouth guard in his mouth. So he's getting, he spends that whole movie getting,
That's actually technically crap in his
that
face.
is in his face. I'll give you that. And then one of his first really big roles was Bronson, where he had the silly mustache. He has various things. He kind of looks like somebody's just goofing around in a character creator for a lot of that game.
Yeah.
He wears clown makeup at one point, but he also wears these little funny spectacles. But yeah, that mustache is honestly just distracting.
So why do they keep putting crap on his face?
I don't know. I think because he's a great actor and he can act with his eyes and his eyebrows. But also, I think that Tom Hardy's I think he's shy, and I think he likes to have something to sort of hide behind. I don't know. That's just my theory. I think Christopher Nolan's theories about the eye acting is also pretty good.
That's why you think he's shy?
So in summation, Tom Hardy always has some crap on his face.
Because he's
Except
shy.
for the movies we didn't name in which he doesn't have anything on his face.
Plenty of those.
He has a few of those. All right, we are done talking about Tom Hardy and the crap that he has on his face, and now it is time to talk about X-Men.
The X-Men.
So if you grew up in
women.
the 90s, the X people. If you grew up in the 90s, you probably remember Toy Biz made X-Men figures, and they were the best. They were the coolest. Here's Sabretooth, and you make it look like he's injured. He's got the funny injuries. Toy Biz got picked up by Hasbro a while back, and they've been putting out Marvel Legends, which is one of the best action figure lines in history, period, at this point. And just recently, I don't know what's going on, but they are leaning hard into making some brand new X-Men figures, and I just want to talk about them for a little bit. One of the most recent waves they put out is the Apocalypse wave, which has just this amazing Sabretooth in it. Hold on. Dan's going to zoom in on it. There he is. There's Sabretooth.
Now, Max, the waves are named after the Build-A-Figures that they come with, right?
And basically, if you buy every figure in this wave, you can build Apocalypse, who's just, again, if you're like a 90s kid who grew up with X-Men, this is so good. This is such a wonderful thing. He looks like those like turquoise Crayola crayons. He's just got that like translucent effect.
And if you ever wondered how Apocalypse got so strong, it's because he poops in these tubes and then they go right to his arms.
No, man,
he
you're
gets
thinking
powerful fisting stuff.
You're thinking of Bane. But yeah, also in this wave, you got to have a Wolverine. Wolverine shouldn't be too hard to track down. I think there's 2 in every case, but now he can fight Sabretooth.
Yep, this is like my favorite Wolverine figure in a
Claw
while.
just fell off. He comes with other hands that are just like regular fists, which are good. And then of course there's, going with the Jim Lee 90s aesthetic, there's also Psylocke, who's got her like weird butterfly psychic blast, which comes off. She's got her psychic katana, which is just awesome. It's got like lightning on it. Marvel Legends has been a great toy line forever, but they're getting really good about accessories lately. And then of course, if you're a fan of X Factor, here's Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man, who comes with like interchangeable heads if you want to buy like 3 of them and have him just hanging out being himself. This is always like a difficult or a difficult character to make a toy of, because his whole power is to have more than one of himself. So I don't know how you do that short of just having like multi-packs.
Yeah, you just got to buy a bunch.
And then there is sort of this is a more recent design of Magneto's, who comes with his grape cotton candy he can wave around, which is...
Have they done like a modern version of the classic design?
They've done numerous ones. They haven't done one in a little while though.
Okay.
And then he's got his good old Magneto head, which all these interchangeable heads and everything. And then here's one from the kind of classic 70s Claremont era, Gladiator, the Majestrix of the Shi'ar Empire's personal bodyguard, who I think is a pretty cool design, but I feel like they went too 90s with the sculpt. Like his boots are too sort of modernized, whereas the whole character design is like very, very just disco fabulous. And then
Very Village People.
My personal favorite is 80s Storm.
That's a great toy.
There's a whole thing. Apparently, it was actually meant as sort of a joke in the 80s, where Storm sort of has like a midlife crisis and she just goes punk. And then she winds up becoming the leader of the Morlocks because she beats the crap out of Callisto in a subway station. And then she actually fights Cyclops for leadership of the X-Men. And it's just, Storm in the 80s is just the best. She's the coolest ever, and I'm so happy that they made this figure. There was one that they did like years ago in like 2005 or so. But this is just a wonderful sculpt. I'm very happy about it. And in summation, these are my toys. However,
You also
there's
do
some
cool stuff like this.
Stop doing that. You really need to stop doing that.
Look at him.
It's distracting.
He's the
and
world's
it's taking away.
strongest grandfather.
A lot of people tune into the show to learn about Marvel Legends.
They're learning a lot about what it's like to be a
That's
strong
not
grandfather.
how that's supposed to work.
This is great. He poops into the tubes. They go in his hands, and he goes right to the gym.
A lot of
And
people
lifts
do
all day
love to
long.
customize Marvel Legends. And they're
very
really good
fun.
for that. Here's something that's going to really just upset a lot of people.
Uh-oh.
Wolvertooth. It just looks like if Wolverine went skiing or something. It's just, I don't like that outfit at all.
That's gross.
Now, at Comic-Con, they had a whole bunch of brand new Marvel Legends that they were showing off. The Sauron wave is just now starting to come out, and it continues this trend of just amazing X-Men figures. Obviously, Sauron is the one you have to collect all the pieces of to build him.
Did you have the Toy Biz one of these?
Yeah, which had like the kind of gooey arms.
Yeah, I did too. They were articulated, but they went
ball-jointed,
like this.
But yeah, he couldn't bend his elbows, but he could just do like that.
Yeah, like that.
But yeah, I'm excited about this just because Sauron is a psychic vampire pterodactyl man who lives in the Savage Land. He's one of those characters that's just out there enough that you're like, what's wrong with you?
What do you think he keeps in those pouches on his wrist?
Probably like beans or something. Like he probably, he transforms back into a man sometimes. I think he exiles himself in the Savage Land because he kept turning into the pterodactyl because he's evil, but he probably has like snacks, Cliff Bars.
I bet he has like saltines.
Luna bars. But yeah, also in this wave is Omega Red, who's just great. He's just such a great, wonderful 90s design. And we haven't gotten like a really good Omega Red figure in quite some time, so I'm excited to get our hands on these.
You read apparently there was a deleted scene in Deadpool 2 where
cannot wait to see that.
Omega Red's playing chess in jail.
Which is just nonsense.
Yeah. This is another one I had the original toy of,
This
Archangel.
was actually the first X-Men figure I ever bought, and I have like a diary from second grade where I was like, "Dear Diary, today I went to KB Toys and got Archangel," and I cannot spell Archangel as an adult, so I certainly couldn't spell it when I was 7. But this is cool as hell. That claw he comes with is actually meant to go onto Apocalypse.
You should save that diary for when you work the Archangel red carpet in like 4 years.
When Fox finally completely runs out of ideas, they'll just make Archangel.
I don't know who they'll do it.
Yeah. And then also, this is great. They're doing a line of vehicles. My mic's dead. Are you kidding me? I was in the middle of talking about the X-Men. All right, I'll just shout at Brian's chest. So anyway, here's Professor X. They're doing
He's really good. They give him his little car.
Yeah, and which technically, I don't know if that counts as a vehicle. You know, it's really just it's a wheelchair.
I don't think it's your vehicle when it's how you get around.
Yeah,
because you have.
But I love that cool like hover chair.
That's a good one.
And here's a big one they're doing. This is confusing. I think it's a Toys R Us exclusive, but Toys R Us just went out of business. Hold on, we're changing my batteries. Hold on.
That's a Sentinel, basically. So you saw them in a couple of the movies, but they never really did them just right. That's to scale to these figures, which means he's what, like 18 inches tall? 20 inches?
That's got to be like a 16-inch tall figure at least.
6 or 7 feet tall?
They did a Sentinel in like the Build-A-Figure series ages ago, but it was... Is it on now? It's cool. It's on. My mic works.
There we go.
And that comes with Days of Future Past Wolverine, which is just awesome. I don't know where you're going to actually buy this thing, but I'm totally on board. And then they've been doing tons of Deadpool stuff, obviously, because Deadpool's huge right now. But there's a vehicle Deadpool that's his scooter that comes with a dog and a squirrel because they just threw the style guide out the window with Deadpool. So,
I like this action set here too, where it looks like he just wrecked a Parisian luncheon.
Yeah, no, he just drove through a bistro.
Yeah,
just ruined it.
Big fan of that.
Yeah, so I'm just really happy that we're getting tons of X-Men figures, and those are the X-Men figures. And in conclusion, I think they are great.
They are. This is probably the best time ever for X-Men figures, right?
I think we've got a. Oh no, we're getting scanned for viruses. Look at this. Can they pull it up? No.
Yeah, let's see.
Did they hide it? So this is actually just. I don't know if you can see this. Our set is just a JPEG.
Not real.
Like it's not a real. It's not. I mean, obviously, but it's funny. There's the mouse. See? Look at that. Get out of here. Shoo. Go on. Get. Oh, I don't like that at all. Yeah, it's weird. Occasionally we get like the McAfee virus scan pop up, and they all panic back there. And
can you put a Brookstone back there?
Yeah, put up Brookstone. We want to. We're at the mall. Put us at the mall. Here, I'll go to the, here. Let me go through my many images of Tom Hardy. There it is.
Great.
There it is.
Yeah.
Now put us at Brookstone.
Perfect. You can screen cap that.
How does that, yeah, we don't actually know what they do back there. They occasionally just make graphics fly around.
They do back?
Oh, look at, what?
Oh, that's what,
look at that.
What?
Where'd it go?
I'm very confused right now.
That's weird.
It's so good.
I don't even know how this works. That's not
we
actually
didn't
on
do
there.
this show
They
for like
just
3
put
months.
it in the, okay.
So yeah, those are the X-Men toys. They keep making them, and we keep getting them, and it's a good time to be alive, unless you work at Brookstone.
Yeah, seriously, apologies to anybody who's watching this who actually works at Brookstone.
Yeah.
We don't mean to make fun of, the business closing. Can we move the prompter to the next story, or Brian, you could look at your notes. I don't know. What do we do here?
Next, we're talking about the Predator, Terminator 6, and Halloween.
Yes,
a good
this
time
is what
to be
I want to talk
alive.
about this. So obviously we see trends in Hollywood and how they do stuff. They do a lot of sequels.
Yes.
They do a lot of adaptations. They do a lot of remakes. And then there's of course reboots.
Prequels.
Prequels are another one. There's spiritual successors. There's reimaginings, and we're starting to see something really interesting right now, which is remakes of sequels that people didn't like. And we're seeing this in a bunch of different ways. A couple examples, though. The new Halloween is the sequel to Halloween, the original.
The original one.
They're basically ignoring all of the sequels that came after the first one because it kind of just kind of lost the thread of what Michael Myers is all about. So effectively, and I interviewed the director and Jamie Lee Curtis at Comic-Con, and they were talking about this a little bit where, in theory, all of the stuff that happened in the other Halloween sequels kind of exists in this universe, but it exists almost as urban legends.
Okay.
So it's a little bit like what they're doing with sort of Star Wars canon, where there's stuff that's official and then there's legends, and it's fine. I mean, it's basically it's all fake. So why not kind of acknowledge that?
Yeah, that's fine.
But it's really cool that they're basically being like, okay, Halloween kind of just went off the beaten path and missed the point. Everyone still loves the original, so let's make a sequel to just the original. So it's 40 years since the original Halloween, and it picks up with Laurie Strode and what she's dealing with, and Michael Myers is still in there, but he hasn't become this over, kind of over, I don't know, inflated character. He's the original Michael Myers 40 years later.
It hasn't completely veered off the deep end either, which
Yeah.
makes it easy if you're young now, or it's been a while since you watched these movies, to sort of catch up on the narrative thread, because you can go watch the original and then watch this one, and then you're good. We don't have a word for these yet.
No, I think like
You have
seek boot
requels?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you call them. But then, of course, the Predator is also doing something similar, where the new Predator is just called The Predator. It is being directed by Shane Black, who actually helped write the original Predator. And I interviewed them at Comic-Con again, and I was like, where does this fall in the lore? And he's sort of like, Predators exist in this universe, and people are sort of aware of them being around, but it doesn't matter. Like the plot of Predator 2 and of Predators is sort of irrelevant. So it's just
Right.
like it's assuming that if you're seeing a movie called The Predator, you know what The Predator is, and you're gonna go see it. So it's just kind of it just doesn't matter, you know. It's just a story in the Predator universe, but they're not getting too hung up on like matching the action of an entire movie franchise.
I guess
which is refreshing, because we're so used to these, like, I don't know, you go see a Marvel movie and you're like, oh crap, I missed the last three. I have no idea who these people are.
Yeah, it feels like you have to do homework.
Yeah.
Specifically with these movies, I guess the question you have to ask is, what are they ignoring and what are they keeping? So in the case of Predator, I think they're basically ignoring the Alien vs. Predator movies, because Predators happened on a different planet, so who cares? Predator 2 is canonical in this universe, and so is Predator 1.
Right, so this is effectively Predator 3.
Yes.
And then, of course, I mean, I don't know. Again, they might have, maybe Adrian Brody will randomly show up, but I really doubt it. But basically, I mean, it's a little bit like what they did with Mad Max Fury Road, where they're like, it doesn't matter.
No.
Like it's all sort of fake. So like, just have fun and enjoy this movie. And it's not being like, oh, your favorite character from the last one is here again. It's sort of like they're all almost just building on top of each other.
So you mentioned comic book movies and sort of having a lot of kind of like entertainment baggage to walk into a theater with. Ironically, comic books, the actual comic books, were the ones that sort of originated this concept of sort of saying like, here's this character, he goes in all these crazy different directions, but we're going to gut all that and bring it back to right here.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
Batman, Spider-Man, they've been rebooted so many single times,
Right.
but kind of keep a lot of the original
The
standards.
term in comic books is retroactive continuity,
Yes.
which is a retcon, where you basically are like, we're going to go back. Maybe part of Daredevil's origins sucked. Let's revisit it and tell it again. And it's sort of a reboot, but almost like, I don't know. There's a sort of kind of fluidity to the medium. In movies, it's a little bit different, because people are like, which one do I watch first? How do I view it? We talked about this a little bit earlier in the show, but Terminator 6, whatever they're going to call it, is effectively ignoring Salvation, or Rise of the Machines, Salvation, and Genesis. It's completely just pretending they didn't happen. And I think they talked to James Cameron about it, and he was like, those were all a bad dream, or an alternate timeline.
That's
And
the thing.
it's like, he's like, this is a multiverse where we have branching timelines. So
Yeah, canonically, they have time travel in these films, so they can sort of narratively dodge that bullet a little bit. It gets a little trickier with other things like Predator, obviously.
Right.
But with Terminator, they can basically just say like, hey, that was fake. That didn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you take the pieces of the Terminator movies that everyone loves and you revisit them. You go back to them. So I don't know, cautiously optimistic about whatever the next Terminator movie is. And then, of course, there's what Neil Blomkamp is doing with RoboCop. This got announced pretty recently. Neil Blomkamp, for a while, was trying to do a sequel to Aliens.
Yeah.
that ignored Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, and then obviously the AVP stuff. But then Prometheus kind of came in and sort of derailed that. But the idea, I mean, it was one of the first times I sort of heard about this approach to making a sequel where it's a sequel to the last one you really liked.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an odd concept. So his Aliens 2, for lack of a better name, is sort of backburnered for now because Ridley Scott wants to have more movies where Michael Fassbender teaches himself to play the recorder, literally with himself, whatever. But in the meantime, Blomkamp's doing RoboCop, which I believe is going to be sort of akin to what Halloween is doing in that it's going to be a sequel to the original RoboCop.
Right, and so it's ignoring the ones after that.
Yeah, but
and the cartoon.
Yeah, or you could honestly just kind of build on them and just make them irrelevant. Oddly enough, the Rocky movies do a really good job of this, where Rocky Balboa pretty much just kind of ignored the plot of Rocky V. Like, everyone sort of doesn't like that, so they just kind of didn't address it, you know? And then, meanwhile, Creed is sort of building on the Rocky universe. Creed 2 is effectively Rocky 4-2.
Yes.
I mean, you could watch Rocky 4, and then you could probably watch Creed 2, and it would kind of line up, I guess. I mean, obviously you'd miss bits and pieces of it, but like, I don't know, they're movies. They're not that hard to figure out. You watch them. The movie's supposed to sort of explain itself to you. So I like that they're not getting too mired up in continuity and lore and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. There's no reason to sort of have to hold on to those bad decisions that were made 15 years ago all the time with movies like this, especially with these gigantic franchises. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
It gets confusing, especially when they start selling box sets.
Yeah.
But this is where we are. Speaking of which, they are making a brand new Star Wars movie.
Yeah. On the subject of convoluted storylines, and J.J. Abrams finally got himself a Twitter to show off that they're making Episode 9.
That's right. He says, bittersweet starting this next chapter without Carrie, a.k.a. Carrie Fisher. But thanks to an extraordinary cast and crew, we are ready to go. Grateful for Rian Johnson. And special thanks to George Lucas for creating this incredible world and beginning a story of which we are lucky to be a part of. Hashtag Ix. Or 9 in Roman numerals. So he tweeted out a picture which, like, Star Wars Twitter is already losing their minds over because there's a lot to unpack there. We see John Boyega as Finn wearing a fishing vest.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's weird. It's like out of focus.
And he's got what looks like longer hair. And he tweeted a couple months ago about growing his hair out. So people are theorizing that there might be a continuity jump here. The movie officially started shooting this week, or is effectively in pre-production. The camera that he has here has the 7 and 9 Roman numerals on it, the two movies that J.J. Abrams worked on. We know from the official cast list that Mark Hamill, a.k.a. Luke Skywalker, will return. Billy D. Williams is confirmed to be in this movie, so he will be reprising his role as Lando Calrissian, which is cool because we haven't seen that character in any capacity except for in a younger version in Solo. And obviously, you'll have your usual lineup back. The people they didn't name are Benicio del Toro, which is not that surprising because I think he just played a bit part in 8, and a couple others here and there. But we did get confirmation after hearing that this wouldn't happen that Carrie Fisher will be in this movie using unused footage that was shot during the production of Episode 7. So how that will work is weird. I'm more excited about that than, say, recasting her or having a kind of a CG attempt.
I really hope. I think they said they're not going to do CG with her.
Yeah.
They're not going to do anything with that. So,
which is good because I think if you saw Episode 8, which many of you did, and then you read the story about Carrie Fisher's passing, you probably said to yourself, how the hell are they going to fix this? And there was that moment in 8 where she sort of Mary Poppins through space, and we all thought for a second watching the movie, we were kind of holding our seats being like, this is it. This is where she dies. Because in that point in our real lives, we had lost Carrie Fisher. This means that we're going to get a narrative conclusion to the life and death of Princess Leia, I assume.
Yeah.
Which means that you'll probably see her on Yavin or on a bridge or something like that, and it'll blow up and she'll die. And we'll lose her and it'll be sad, but not as sad as if we had to do that with a CG puppet version of her.
I'm excited for this movie in that it's going to be kind of closing the door on what we think of as the original Star Wars movies.
Yes.
Like, this is the end of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to move on from that. And it's also going to be really interesting to see J.J. Abrams finish something. Like, he's really good at the mystery box stuff and starting things, but I don't really think of him as a guy who's great with conclusions. I mean, everyone gets very mad at the end of Lost.
He also very outspokenly said that he had wished he had directed Rian Johnson's script for 8. He loves it. A lot of people didn't love 8, but I'm wondering how much of that he'll take into account, because Rian Johnson, like it or not, took Star Wars in a very new, very different direction. It pissed off a lot of people. He messed with a lot of sort of like identities of characters and did some things that maybe you didn't want him to do. He killed Luke Skywalker. Or did he? And that's the thing about these movies with magical ghost wizards who can return from the dead, that maybe J.J. Abrams will take what we saw at the end of 8, which was the death of Luke Skywalker, and retcon it and go, hey, we don't need that anymore. Maybe Luke Skywalker will return in this movie. Maybe
What if it just like, it opens with like that rock and it just pans over and Luke just like teleports onto a different rock and he's like, oh man, that took it out of me. I had to teleport 7 feet away from where it was.
And so I think like it's a really interesting predicament, right? Because I mean, I don't think that will necessarily be sort of crapping on everything Rian Johnson did. I think he'll win over a lot of points with the fans and the hardcore audiences if they bring back Luke Skywalker and we get to see him like really kick some ass. On the other hand, that sort of negates everything we saw about his character development in 8 and what we really expect from old wise Jedi who go to weird planets to die alone.
We saw the ghost of Yoda burn down a tree, so like the idea of like Ghost Luke showing up and wrecking shop is possible.
It's possible, yeah.
I don't know if that's what we want, because that's sort of the whole point of Jedi is that they're not supposed to show up and wreck shop. They're sort of, you know, like monks.
Also, if we're going with the rumors and speculation based entirely around adult male facial hair growth, Mark Hamill shaved his beard. So maybe we'll get a young Luke Skywalker Force Ghost messing stuff up. Force Ghost stuff is weird because it's like when...
What if they bring back Hayden? What if they have like old Hayden Christensen and he's like, hey?
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. Like speaking of retcons, like
Qui-Gon.
People really love the prequels.
Qui-Gon Jinn, he's going to show up and it's going to be all the ghosts and they're going to show up. The ghosts are just going to shoot fire at everybody.
I mean, that would make a lot of people happy, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I think that'd be kind of dumb, but I'm there.
Yeah,
I'll see it.
I agree.
I'll eat the popcorn. I'll watch it. I'll see what happens.
We have a year and a half to speculate where this movie will go.
How many ghosts will be in this film?
At least 4.
Will Yoda be as a ghost again? Will he return?
Will Yoda be as a ghost again?
What about Qui-Gon Jinn? He wants to be in the movie, but they won't put him in it. Why not?
Let us know in the comments below. Will Yoda be as a ghost again? Journalism.
All right.
But yeah, we have a year and a half to speculate about this. There will still be leaks. There will be tweets. There will be leaked set photos. People will find the Millennium Falcon on Google Maps, even though they try to cover it up with like tarps and stuff like that, like they always do. I'm so excited. This is
gonna be great.
This is a good time.
Now, Brian, you recently went and you got yourself a Happy Meal toy.
That's right.
But there's something not so happy about this Happy Meal toy.
It's more of a crappy meal toy, if you know what I'm talking about.
Language.
Journalism.
Yeah, so this is obviously McDonald's is partnered with Nintendo, and they're doing Mario Odyssey Happy Meal toys.
Yeah, so they did an entire set of Mario Happy Meal toys, which if you're old and overweight, like me, you'll know that way back in the day, they originally did Mario Happy Meal toys in the 80s or 90s, and they were kind of cheap. It was basically like Mario 3 themed. Mario had the raccoon suit, and he had like a suction cup on his butt.
So they're doing that again, but with Mario Odyssey.
That's right.
Great, and everything works, right?
Yeah, so you get Mario, and he's got a Cappy, his hat.
Does he throw it like in the game?
He does, but the best thing about Cappy is that it's a hat, and what do you do with hats?
No, throw it first. I want to see you throw it.
Put it on people's
wait.
heads.
You can't put the hat on the toy from the food restaurant?
You can't.
What is this nonsense?
They blocked it.
This is an outrage.
So look at the inside of this hat. They put that there. Why would you do that?
You mean I have to go in my dad's garage and get out the Dremel and customize this hat, ruining its collector's value if I want Mario to wear Cappy like in the game?
Yep, and nothing says safety with children's toys like the Dremel. so Mario will hold Cappy, and then you flick it, and
That's what I have to say about that.
And then it's gone. It's not a great toy, and it got me thinking about how we don't really have a lot of great Super Mario Odyssey merchandise. It kind of sucks, especially for toy people like us, as you can see from our desk. Mario Odyssey is the best-selling Switch game, which is crazy if you think about it, right? It outsold Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart, everything else. It's the best-selling Switch game. It's doing phenomenal. Nintendo has partnered with Jax, or Jax Pacific, basically for a line called World of Nintendo. They do a bunch of kind of cheap-ish Kmart, Target level action figures.
They're toys.
Good. They're okay.
They're not made for adult men who pay like $35 for an action figure.
Yeah.
They're made for children who will bash them into walls and stuff.
Yeah, if you want something like that, go buy, the figure arts of Super Mario.
Mm-hmm.
They make a really good one. But there aren't really a lot of Mario Odyssey action figures.
All in due time. They'll figure it out.
So we'll get there eventually. For now, you have the Happy Meal option. If you want to go over to
We
McDonald's.
don't recommend it.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, we don't think it was that
We
great.
give it a 5 out of 10 on the official IGN
Can't even
review
wear the
scale.
hat.
That's right.
What a mess.
Horrible. It's
Real-
nonsense.
Just a disaster.
But speaking of Nintendo Switch and Mario and video games in general, the GameCube is very old, and I love it. It's one of my favorite video game systems of all time. I love my Nintendo Switch. Those two worlds don't interact nearly enough. There's a couple of GameCube games on Switch. Most recently, we got Ikaruga, which is like one of the best shmups of all time. But there aren't really a lot of GameCube games on Switch. What sucks about that is that we've heard rumors for a long time about maybe that intersecting with the virtual console thing or where that will end up. Nintendo Online launches in about a month and a half. It'll be the first time you get to pay for video games or pay for online games on your Nintendo Switch, which is very odd. I don't know why your face is up there.
They put my face up on the teleprompter for reasons I can't see. And
It's very
It's not
scary.
fair because you viewers at home can't see it, and we can't show it to you, and it's messing us up.
Yeah. So anyway, we love the Nintendo GameCube. We love the Nintendo Switch. I wanted to go through some Nintendo GameCube games that I'd love to see on Nintendo Switch. And I want to go through some of the lesser known ones. Because when you think about the GameCube, you think about Smash Brothers, you think about Rogue Leader, you think about Wind Waker. I think we'll eventually see a lot of those games, but I want to go through some of the kind of like less known ones, some of the more hidden ones. So let's start with Super Monkey Ball Collection.
Yeah, let's start with it.
There we go. If you guys don't remember Monkey Ball, this was back when Sega was just really knocking it out the park and just doing really weird things.
Putting monkeys and balls.
Putting monkeys in balls.
That's so cruel.
This was a really interesting franchise because it fit perfectly well on GameCube. The sort of the analog stick and controller felt perfect for this game. And Monkey Ball is a game about monkeys who go in balls and then go down ramps and then have to get to a goal. Very simple, very basic, kind of tiny, constrained, level-driven game. It had some cool party game multiplayer stuff.
I thought it was really pretty courageous of them to do that with primates and not like a rodent of some kind. Because people do put rodents in balls and make them do stuff.
That's very true.
But to put like a chimp in a ball is just really a lot.
Yeah, and so the Monkey Ball franchise went on to do a lot of weird things. It got very gimmicky, kind of like the WarioWare games did.
Kind of weird that you start with a game about throwing monkeys and balls, and it's like, then it got gimmicky.
It did, yeah. So they made a touch version, they made a GBA version. There was a version that used the balance beam on the Wii U or the Wii.
Really?
Yeah, and then motion controls, all this other stuff. Really, just Monkey Ball is just a fantastic sort of arcade puzzle platforming game. And Monkey Ball 1 and 2 are classics, and I'd love to see them both on Switch.
Next.
Skies of Arcadia Legends, one of the greatest RPGs of all time. A lot of people don't really remember this one. This is another Sega game. They were just partnering really well with Nintendo at the time and just doing really awesome stuff. It's kind of an action-y RPG. It's got really beautiful graphics. It's a really long, really fun game. Never really got ported to a bunch of systems afterwards, so it kind of lives and dies on the GameCube. You can play it through emulation and stuff like that, but that's useless. I want it on my Switch.
Nice.
So do it.
Next.
Capcom made two of the best action platforming games ever made with Beautiful Joe. During the GameCube era, they launched this as part of the Capcom 5. Do you remember those games?
Yep.
So the weird thing about Capcom 5 was that they were all supposed to be exclusive to GameCube, and one by one, they either got canceled or ported to PS2.
That was like, what, Killer 7? Was that
Killer 7, Resident Evil 4, Beautiful Joe. There was like this Kid Icarus style game that Dead Phoenix, I think.
Yeah, Beautiful Joe. People want this. They want this to come back.
Yeah, so the cool thing about Beautiful Joe is that it used sort of bullet time, and the entire game kind of took place in like Avid video software editing programs. So you could fast forward, rewind, pause, you could cut the film in half. And it made boss fights and combat in general really interesting. So you could mash through this game and kick some ass, and it was fun, but you could also build up combos, speed run it, and do really well. Beautiful Joe 2 came out. It's just as good. Then there were other offshoots. There was one that came to DS. They put Beautiful Joe in some fighting games, but basically this character in this franchise died. And I love it. So bring it to Switch.
Next.
Batten Kaitos, or Kados. The Eternal Wings and the Long Lost Legacy, the long varied RPG title. This was a Namco RPG, another classic RPG that didn't really get ported to a lot. Got some spin-offs and stuff like that, but again, we haven't seen much of this game since, and I'd love to see it again on Switch. It's perfect there.
What's up with that guy's fingers?
He's pretending he's holding a Switch, but it's not happening. He was very like, kind of like, aggro emotional. We were really into that stuff back then. But this is a cool game, and we can't play it anymore, so let's see it happen. Killer 7. We have had Suda51 on this show numerous times. It's very cool that we get to call him a friend. Killer 7 is the only thing I've ever asked anyone to sign. I have a copy of this game for the GameCube. It's a classic. It was on 2 discs. They put it on PS2. Loading times are a little worse. We heard recently that they are porting it to PC and sort of like doing a remastered version of it, which means that they're working on it, which means that they have a functional build of this game running on something considering modern hardware.
Nice.
So I'd love to see this on...
We've also seen Capcom putting a lot of stuff on Switch.
Yeah,
they're being good about that. So
they own the rights to this. People constantly ask Suda about this. Suda is working on a No More Heroes sequel, prequel type thing for Switch. So he's in development on that system. So this is easy money. Bring it over there. It's one of the weirdest games of all time, and I love it.
Next.
Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I know you're thinking like, okay, this is not really like a lesser known title. This is Square Enix, and Final Fantasy is one of the most recognizable sort of franchises of all time. But Crystal Chronicles is a weird, odd duck. It's sort of like the black sheep of the Final Fantasy series. It's a spin-off that used Game Boy Advances as controllers so that each character had their own screen to play alongside with a TV.
Sounds perfect for Switch.
Exactly. It's a multiplayer RPG. You can play it by yourself, but it's kind of a pain in the ass. What sucks about this game is that one of you guys always has to carry the bucket, which sends out this aura of safety, because otherwise the world is covered in poison and it will kill you. But it's a very grindy, kind of Diablo-style action RPG. Inspires you to replay levels a bunch and just level up and do cool stuff. It's really fun with friends. So yeah, bring it to Switch. It's perfect.
Next.
Time Splitters 2 and Future Perfect. Time Splitters 2 is made by ex-GoldenEye people, which sounds weird, but Time Splitter 2 is one of my favorite sort of arcade shooters of all time. It's completely ridiculous, over the top. You can play as like dinosaurs and weird aliens, and it's all about time travel and guys that look like Vin Diesel fighting each other in arena-based combat.
Wait, what the hell's going on here? Did EA publish that in...
Yes.
In Europe?
So Eidos Montreal made the original and published it, and then EA published Time Splitters 2 through some weird licensing agreement. So that's the PAL version of the game. I couldn't find a better one.
You want to know something really weird? 50 Cent, Blood on the Sand. I think this is the second one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Blood on the Sand. That's published in Japan by Bethesda.
Oh, that is really weird.
Really odd.
Yeah.
Really very odd. Now finally, this got left out. This was added into the prompter. We don't have a graphic for it, but Eternal Darkness.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really cool survival horror game. Silicon Knights, who created that game, tried to kickstart a spiritual successor to that game numerous times, failed every time. So I don't really know if there's a viable market for a sequel, but I do think that dragging and dropping that game and putting it on Switch would sell some units, and it's free, easy money. So let's do it.
Cool. Well, what do you want to see on Switch? Let us know. Just write wishes.
Write wishes.
Write the wishes. Just put them anywhere. That's fine. Now it's time we got down to some serious business. I have some very bad news. They're making another Sandlot movie. Yeah, you said it best, guys. They're making another Sandlot movie.
Yep.
And there's sort of a 1-2 punch here. This is going to be the 4th Sandlot movie. Now, if you're like normal people, this is a surprise to you, and you did not know that they made a 3rd, and in some cases, probably a 2nd Sandlot movie.
I had no idea. I learned this week from you.
Yes. Now here I've got a picture of the Sandlot. It's a good movie. I have some sand in the background there. It's very you can understand what's going on there. And here's the Sandlot 2, which it's very hard to discuss this film without swearing profusely because it's an affront to common decency. This was a direct-to-video film. Released in 2005.
Do you have the plot synopsis of that? Do you want me to pull it up?
It's about I think they're still playing baseball, but they launch
It's a good guess.
They launch a model rocket into the yard, and it's like the same story. It's a different thing. They're not after a baseball. They're after a rocket.
Okay. They're after a rocket.
And I think it's set in a different. I don't know if that's the 80s or when that's supposed to be taking place.
This was a direct-to-video affront that launched in 2005.
Assault on common sense.
The IMDb description says, a film about
I think right off the bat they're just lying. That's not a film.
A film about a group of young baseball enthusiasts who test the terrifying myth of Mr. Myrtle owning a freakishly large and dangerous dog in his backyard.
What's it called? Like The Great Fear?
Yeah, they didn't even get that
They don't
far.
name the dog. Yeah, apparently the first one it's the Beast, and then in the second one they like they reboot the dog.
Okay.
I don't even know if I think it's James Earl Jones is still in it, right?
Yeah. Yes. So In the 12 years since comedic sequel to 93's Sandlot, a new group of kids have moved into the Sandlot. So
They don't live there.
Yeah, spiritual.
Did they even see the first movie?
Spiritual successor. So they go back to the same. Can you pull that image up again? Is that the same fence?
No, it's
worse?
different. They redid the fence. It's a different fence.
Okay.
The first Sandlot had a much more rustic fence, and they went in. They went to Home Depot, and it's still crooked.
They got another like heavyset ginger kid to be the catcher, which is weird. They typecast.
I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
questions.
the Sandlot 2.
Yep.
Unfortunately, there is a third one. It's called The Sandlot Heading Home, which is literally about a famous baseball player who has brain damage and then thinks he's a child again.
The Sandlot heading.
I don't know.
Heading home.
I read the synopsis, but I became outraged.
So
You want to read this to them?
There are 3 Sandlot movies. They emboss the type on the third one. I don't understand this at all. Let's see. Sandlot Heading Home actually has better reviews than Sandlot 2, so your weekend is set.
I don't like that at all.
Successful, arrogant baseball superstar Tommy Santarelli travels back in time to 1976 and relives his boyhood days on the Sandlot baseball team and has the chance to, this time, choose friendship over glory. So this is a retcon time travel story about...
But he's not actually he gets hit in the head.
What?
No, I read about this. He doesn't time travel. He just gets hit in the head and he goes back. Like he's in a coma.
Okay.
Like why would they do this? And then, okay, sorry.
Luke Perry is in this movie, by the way.
We're getting off the beaten path here. We're getting a little bit in the weeds on the edge of the Sandlot, if you will. The Sandlot prequel, what is that? Why would you make a prequel to a movie about children playing baseball? What does that mean? What is a prequel to the Sandlot? Is it about them clearing the lot?
Yeah, so that was announced.
Sand down?
That was announced this week. They are making a prequel to the Sandlot. I don't know.
So angry about this.
I don't know if the children are younger.
Is it about their dads?
2?
Is it about the invention of baseball?
Is it about Babe Ruth when he's a kid and he's large and alcoholic?
You know,
cursing?
they make movies about Babe Ruth, which technically would be prequels to The Sandlot if you stop and think about it.
Technically, any movie that was made before The Sandlot is a prequel to The Sandlot.
Also, this isn't like a cinematic universe. This is like it's just about children playing baseball on Earth in real life. So theoretically, any movie that takes place earlier than The Sandlot and is also based on real life is a Sandlot prequel.
That's true. Also, a Sandlot.
Saving Private Ryan is a Sandlot prequel.
That's right. So is Shrek.
No, it's not. Shrek is set in not real life. That's not. Shrek is not real.
I don't know about that.
Titanic is a Sandlot prequel. Shrek is not.
Shrek was on the Titanic.
No, he wasn't.
What
are you saying?
A Sandlot, as in a plot of sand, is the effect of something before something was built onto something. So it's effectively a prequel to a building. So what comes before a Sandlot?
No,
is it rocks?
I would disagree.
Is it rocks that become
No, I think it's brush. I think it's going to be a bunch of dudes trying to play baseball, but they're in like waist-high grass, and they're like,
okay,
somebody should really clear this out and put sand down. I keep tripping on holes.
I don't understand what they're doing with these movies. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Why would you make a Sandlot?
Why would you do that?
Why would you do this? So terrible.
I'm
so angry at the Sandlot prequel.
They got the writers of the original. By the way, Benny, who was in the original Sandlot, grew up to get arrested for like a DUI, and I think he punched a fireman. Which, infinitely more interesting movie than what happened before this Sandlot.
Give me a Sandlot.
Was a Sandlot.
Give me a Sandlot Beyond. Give me like a Batman Beyond. Give me like Sandlot 2099. I want to see the distant future where there's no sand and baseball is illegal and these kids have to learn how to play it without using hover boots.
The Sandlot cinematic universe.
Yeah.
The Sandematic universe.
I'm so outraged at this stupid. Also, I had to learn this week that there's a third Sandlot movie. I was going great. I got married this week.
Yep.
One of the best days of my life.
Well,
and then I found out there's a Sandlot 3.
Welcome back to Earth.
And it's about brain damage time travel.
This is ridiculous.
What a bad movie.
They should retcon the Sandlot 2 and make a new Sandlot 2, like we were talking about earlier.
I got a movie for you. Sandlot versus Air Bud.
Okay, I'm into that. There's nothing in the rule book.
They make Air Bud fight the Beast.
Yep.
The two dogs have to fight. I think that could be a fun movie.
We have 5 minutes left in the show and nothing left in the script.
We didn't plan enough show. We were gonna,
Let me ask you, how angry are you about the Sandlot?
Can we talk about the Sandlot for 5 more minutes? We can talk about Predator.
We can talk about Predator.
We did one. We texted each other and was like, we should probably talk about Predator.
Okay, what do you want to talk about the Predator? Just the idea of it?
I don't know if we're allowed to say this. I think Predator's kind of a dick. We allowed to
What?
say
Yeah, he kills people.
I mean, the
He's a
Predator's-
predator.
So the thing that I think it's easy to look at him and be like, oh yeah, the Predator, he's very high tech. They come to Earth and they're aliens and they're invading. But no. Those are dudes on vacation. They're like hunting parties.
Yeah.
The Predator, like the ones that you see in the Predator movies, they show up. They're like that dentist who shot Cecil the lion.
No, he's like,
They're like
Eric Trump holding up the elephant's tail.
They're like rich dudes who want to go and hunt Navy SEAls. They're like,
it.
yeah, I'm going to go to this planet. Like, they're not doing that. They're not waging war, you know? And like, you look at the xenomorphs, they're just animals. They're just like big bugs. But the predators that we see, like, we never see their society and their civilization. But theoretically...
This just in, we actually
We have a picture of the new Predator.
Okay, pull up the Predator.
We go now live to a picture of the new Predator.
Get that
there
out of
he
here.
is.
That's Venom with googly eyes.
There he is.
Get that the hell out of here. Get it off the screen.
That is terrifying.
Get it out of here.
That was created by a very wonderful man named Matthew Gados on Twitter. He tweeted out a picture of Venom with googly eyes.
Venom with googly eyes. Thank you, Matthew, for sending that in the mail. But no, I kind of love how obnoxious the Predators are.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of convinced ourselves like, oh, they have spaceships and they use technology, but like, they're all just it's all leisure time for them.
Yeah.
You know, like
They're just
not
on hunting trips. It's
they're-
just-
Yeah, like maybe occasionally things get out of control and it's like a horror movie for them when there's aliens involved, but in reality, they're just rich dudes.
I don't want to get political on the show, but I feel like in 2018, we would be like, it's okay to have some predators. Like, we'd be like kind of okay with it right now. I think our president would be like, it's all right. They let them hunt, take some spines.
Probably, yeah. I also, like they're also just cheap as hell. They can turn invisible and shoot lasers at you. It's like that's not.
It's cheating.
How's that? I mean, that's kind of the point. Is that they're like, oh yeah, like a half-nude Schwarzenegger covered in dirt can beat up this dude who's lost all his technologies.
We think of predators as technologically sophisticated, but they're basically like Casio watches. You know, like they're technology capped in like
They're
1987.
also just tacky as hell.
They're very
They
tacky.
got all the jewelry and the fishnets and sandals.
They're reggae lizards.
Yeah,
Everyone loves a good reggae lizard.
yeah. I guess you could
There
say
he
that.
is.
Yeah, and they're just I don't know, they're cheap. They're like dudes playing with cheat codes on. They just come in and they've got like, you know, throwing stars and night vision goggles and everything. What does like Predator look like after he's done on vacation? Like when they go back home, what are they doing?
Do you think he puts on like a Hawaiian shirt?
I think that they put on probably clothes. I think that they on their home planet, I don't think they dress like they do when they're on hunting vacation. Like when you see dudes going hunting, they're wearing like a bunch of weird like REI gear and like woodsman outfits. You know, like you have special gear you wear when you go hunting. Theoretically, what does Predator look like when he's not on vacation, when he goes back to do his day job? Is he still wearing like a loincloth and fishnets and sandals and a puka shell necklace?
Maybe. It's weird that he even has all that on anyway because he can turn invisible.
That's true. Obviously, like canonically, Predator should be just butt naked. Somebody wrote in the prompter, how do predators go potty?
What? They just do
They
it.
just go up in the tree. What color is it, though? That's the real question. Because if their blood is glow in the dark, is it like pink?
I think it's purple and it vanishes.
It's just invisible purple. It's like invisible ink.
Yeah.
When you like that stuff you spray and it's like it just disappears.
That's how the predators write love letters to each other. They poop purple, invisible poops, and then they go away.
When are we finally going to see some girl predators?
I don't know. We have 2 minutes left on the show. So.
We can talk about girl predators for 2 minutes.
Yeah?
Do you think
Tanya Harding was kind of a girl predator.
you could say that? I would like to see a Predator versus Tanya Harding movie. I think that'd be good. You get those like spiritual warriors who just drive around listening to Laura Branigan, and, you know, those dudes who thought they're soldiers of fortune.
Behind every predator is an abusive maternal unit.
What does Predator's mom look like?
Probably predator with longer dreads.
Are there any fat predators?
Do they have girl predators?
I think so in the comics or so. Yeah, they have them in the comics, and it's weird.
What does it look like?
That's what you'd picture.
Do they have lipstick?
No.
Does it look like the female gremlins?
They've got boobs. It's kind of like the female gremlins where you're like,
Where that guy makes out with one?
yeah.
That was weird.
Nah, I don't like it. They're writing something else. What if they are like I don't.
You
Stop.
can't do that
you
to
can't
us.
wait
We're
that in
gonna
the
read whatever
prompter.
you put in there.
They
What if
could've
they
written
are like,
anything up
I don't
there.
know? That's a... Okay, anyway, that was Up at Noon Live. That's the Sandlot
Get
trilogy.
that out of here. Put that in the trash.
What do you want to see in a Sandlot prequel? Let us know in the comments below.
Sandlot versus Predator.
How many of the ghosts will be in Star Wars?
I want to see a really out of shape Predator show up and just start hunting kids.
Like a really fat predator?
I want to see one who's like who gets his ass kicked by a bunch of kids with baseball bats.
A big, thick predator?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Give me a large
Thanks for watching
predator.
Up and New Live. I'm Brian, that's Max. Every Thursday, noon Pacific on IGN, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and everything else. Come right here. We're going to be here for a while.
We're gonna do the show normally again. It's gonna be.
We're not gonna get married or have kids for a little bit. Promise.
We're like bad parents. We're like bad dads here.
Yeah, we went out.
We promise we're done traveling and goofing around. We'll be back on next Thursday. We swear.
We will.
We're gonna
Next
be
Thursday.
better.
Thank you so much for watching and for tuning in, and we will see you very soon. And watch out for the Predator.
Also, don't watch The Sandlot 3.
Give it a shot. What could possibly go wrong? Learn more about that Sandlot.
Are they done shooting us yet?
You never know, really. They turn the lights off and we keep talking. This
They
could
always do this.
technically be still live.
I think it still is.
Yeah.
They're just messing with us.
You want to talk about anything special? Now that you're a witness protection? Do predators breastfeed?
My wife asked, do the predators breastfeed?
That's a good question. I think they do, but it's scary because those predators have like the 4 teeth.
Oh, no, I don't like that at all.